On WMUN 92.5 FM, 1340 AM, and the Gainbridge Ball State Cardinals Sports Network, welcome to This Week in Ball State Sports, highlighting the Cardinal teams, administration, alumni, and community. Now here's the voice of the Cardinals, your host, Mick Tidrow.
Hello and welcome back into This Week in Ball State Sports, another Thursday morning show here on December 18th. It is our final show of 2025 before we get rolling in 2026, and we have a really good show. Yesterday on Steve's show, we did tease a special guest for today after some big announcements came through yesterday around the Ball State community. We'll get to that in just a moment, but if you want to check out any of our replays, just search This Week in Ball State Sports wherever you get your podcasts. We are there. All of our shows, we're almost up to 20 shows this year, already in 2025, 26, and all of them are on our Spotify, Apple, Amazon, wherever you get your podcasts. Just search This Week in Ball State Sports. All right, we'll have Director of Athletics Jeff Mitchell coming up in a little bit here to talk all things Ball State athletics and the holiday season. But first, we have Mike Iandolo from Ball State Men's Volleyball, just named the permanent head coach for the program. Mike, really appreciate your time and congratulations on the big news yesterday.
Thank you. It's been a little bit of a whirlwind, 24 hours, but excited to be here and keep moving this program forward.
How much time have you spent on your phone the last 48 hours?
A lot. I think I was joking with my wife yesterday. I spent maybe 5 straight hours on the phone just between messages and emails and phone calls and things like that. But it's a good thing.
How did all this come together?
You know, in the summer when Dona stepped down, that kind of also happened fast. We were in a position where, look, this is something we can do now. We can make it interim, and then let's reevaluate at some point during the year, see how things are going. We got through the fall, and I really wasn't thinking about it. There's just so much else going on right here. 2 new assistant coaches, 7 new players, trying to get everybody caught up to speed and doing things that we want them to do. And just got to a point where we'd been getting a lot of questions from recruits and, just starting to think about 27th scheduling for the season and just all this kind of stuff started popping up towards the end of the semester. I'm like, okay, maybe this is something that I need to start having a conversation about. And, I went to administration and brought it to them and said, this is something I would like to do if you guys are feeling good about it or want to talk about it. And, I give a lot of gratitude to Jeff and to Ryan Hillenberg and to President Mearns, because once I brought it up, it happened pretty fast, and they've shown a lot of support and been really awesome in the process. And I feel really good about where the program is headed, and couldn't be more excited to be here. Coach
Iandolo joining us here from Ball State Men's Volleyball, just announced as the head coach for Ball State Men's Volleyball. Took the interim spot 6 months ago. Coach, when you look at that situation and you talk about the last 6 months, what have, outside of what you just mentioned, the last 6 months been like to make sure that you are just doing what you need to do as the head coach of the program? Because whether it's interim or not, like, you are the head coach of the program. So you said it, I want to make sure that everything is in the right spot. What was the last 6 months like?
It was, in the summer, it was making sure, originally, hey, we need to keep all our guys around. I want to make sure they're all good. They understand what the change is, why the change is happening, and what my goal is for them and for this program. And and that main goal hasn't changed. It's been the same since I got here 4 years ago, and that's, hey, we're trying to win a championship.
Right.
So it really doesn't change much. Maybe the structure of what we look like day to day, or how practices might be running, or what our system is, has adjusted a little bit. But a lot of it was like, okay, get everybody here, make sure all our guys are good. Finish. We had a couple spots left to fill on our roster, so we filled those couple spots, and then I had to hire 2 assistant coaches, which is challenging with an interim tag. It's convincing them, like, look, hey, you come here, we do this, we do well. This is something that's going to continue. We're going to continue to be a staff together, all that kind of stuff. It's a risk for them to take, right? And both those guys are coming from being head coaches, so they both had to step away from programs to come here, which to me just reiterates what is special about Ball State Men's Volleyball. It's different than a lot of places, and it's something that people look at as either players or coaches as like, hey, that's a place I want to be at. And once we got everyone together, then it was just like, hey, let's install our system. And to me, it was just, at that point, it was volleyball. It's like, okay, this is what we got to make sure we're doing. This is our offense. This is our defense. This is how we're going to attack practices. This is how we're going to do our lift. And let's just get rolling. Once we got rolling, it got pretty normal pretty fast. It's back in the gym, and that's where we're all comfortable. So
absolutely,
just once we got there, it was not easy, but it was simple. It was like, hey, this is we're in practice, we're trying to train, and we're trying to get our guys in a position where we can be successful this season, and then whatever happens after that, it happens after that.
And the burst of having to do the hiring of 2 coaches plus making sure you're keeping your players and the recruiting, feels like all that happens at the same time. You get the job, and it's like, okay, you've got a list of like 100 things that you have to do right now.
Yeah. At that, I mean, when I was named interim, the next day, I think that was a Friday, and the next day was a Saturday, and I was flying to Orlando for AAUs to go recruit. So, it wasn't even 24 hours later from being, publicly named interim that I was down in Orlando recruiting without assistant coaches. So it was just me, and half of that time was spent potentially talking to guys who might want to come be a coach, and half of that time was spent watching recruits. And then in my free time, when I had time in the hotel or, was going to get lunch or whatever, was calling players from our roster, making sure, getting on the phone with them and talking to them, all that kind of stuff. And, 2 new assistant coaches, Brian and Charles, they moved into they live together. They moved into their place, move-in weekend for students in the dorms.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, that's so it's new for everybody.
Yeah, it was pretty fast, but it's worked out really well. We communicate really well, which is something as a staff we've had to do, and I think it has kind of rubbed off. It's because it's what we're asking the guys to do, is like be disciplined and communicate well and be accountable for stuff. And as a new staff, we're having to do those same exact things. So it's kind of asking it to be mirrored in the players, which is, I think, has gone really well.
Coach Iandolo joining us here on This Week in Ball State Sports. You mentioned your 2 assistants, Brian and Charles. What have they brought to Ball State men's volleyball so far?
Oh, work. They're workers for sure. They like to grind. Good energy. They're both youngers. They're both in their 20s, so like they're connecting really well with the guys. And then they both have their own experiences. Charles had to start a program from scratch at Barry in Miami, and he started it from scratch by himself and coached it his first year. So he had faced some issues that not a lot of coaches have had to face. Yeah. So he knows how to work around some things, and he's very social and connects really well with the guys. And he's kind of heading up in our staff. Like, we do a newsletter for alumni and all that kind of stuff, and alumni interaction. He's really good at those things, and he does our blocking, and he works with our middles. And then Brian is super organized, and for me, that's a really good thing. I kind of live in a world of the in-between of like, I can be organized on the stuff I need to be, but a lot of it is like, hey, I'm focused on the volleyball and the coaching and the training, so he's helped bring some organization. But, his skills as a recruiter, but as a coach, especially with passing and defense and things like that, have already elevated our gym. And, he was the head coach at Lincoln Memorial, where he was an assistant first. Their head coach moved to the women's side. He got promoted in the 2 years that he was the head coach. It's the 2 most successful years that program has had. They finished ranked in the top 15 last year as an independent program. It's like, okay, he's doing something right. If I could get that here, I'll feel pretty good about it. And he's done a really good job. I feel good about both those guys, and they've connected. What I feel happy about is they've connected really well with our players, and the guys respond to them really, really well.
2 things that stuck out to me from what you just said. They're both in their 20s, and they've both been head coaches already in their short coaching career at the men's volleyball space. How valuable is that to have on your staff?
Super valuable. It was something I was trying to do. That was intentional. Now, I didn't think I was going to get both positions to be guys that have been head coaches, but, it's something that when I moved here, originally I was coming from being a head coach at a Division II school, and that experience for me, I know proved very valuable for Donan and what we were doing. It's like I had done a lot of the things that we were trying to do. So he wasn't having to teach me anything crazy. I was like, okay, this is we just got to put it together for Ball State, and this is how I want the program to run. So like fit in here. And it's kind of been the same. It's like, look, you know how to talk to people, you know how to send emails, you know how to have meetings, you know how to recruit, you know how to do these things. I don't have to teach you all this stuff. It's more about learning Ball State and how we do things here with some stuff, and then how are we going to do things with our teams. Man, it's so valuable. And I can trust them. I was like, hey, can you go recruit this tournament by yourself? Or, hey, I need you to get this, and this done. And I know I'm not going to, I'm not babysitting anybody to do that, because they both know that the importance of some of these things behind the scenes, right, as coaches we have to do that not everybody pays attention to, that's not in the athletics world.
Right. That's such a valuable asset to have, especially in your first 6 months as a head coach to be able to bring in people that have that mindset. Coach Iandolo joining us here from Ball State Men's Volleyball, just named the head coach for Ball State Men's Volleyball. As an assistant here at Ball State the last 4 years, what have you learned about Ball State Men's Volleyball and Ball State as a whole that has you prepared for this gig?
Oh, again, it's a special place, man. When I first got here, I played in this conference. I played at Lewis. And back then, Lewis and Ball State did not get along. Maybe it's the same now. I'm not sure. But
Putting it nicely.
And so, I didn't know. I didn't pay attention to as a player, right? I was like, okay, whatever. It's just Ball State. And then the opportunity came to come here, and it was a good move for my family and a good move for me in my career. And I got here, and then that first year, Dr. Shondell passed away. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
And we had when we played Ohio State that year, we had a big celebration of life for him. And a bunch of alumni came back, guys that had played for him and their families. We did a big event before our Ohio State match that year. And then all those alumni came into the match, and we won that match. And obviously that year went really well. We went to the Final Four. But just the experience of seeing, man, this isn't just it's just some volleyball program. This is a thing that has been around for a long time, with a lot of people that have come through here that have had a lot of success and that have then gone on and continued to have a lot of success, especially in the volleyball world. My wife actually knew more about it than I did, because she was coaching the women's side for a long time. And, she's like, yeah, all those Muncie guys, all those Ball State guys, they're kind of everywhere. And, you just don't know that if you're not in it. And once I learned what that was, man, I can sell this. This is special. These guys, you're playing for something that is bigger than yourself. Mm-hmm. And that's something that, especially in men's volleyball, is just not a super common thing. There's maybe a handful of programs that have the history that we do, which, a lot of people will listen and be like, it's just volleyball. What is? But it's different. If you're in the sport and then you come and you see the history that we have and the list of guys that have come through here, it's like, man, we can – this is such an easy thing to be like, look, come be a part of this. You get to play here, and all these guys are now part of your extended family, right?
We saw it at the Hall of Fame ceremony with the team that got inducted.
Absolutely.
The whole team flew back from Brazil, from everybody.
Mm-hmm. And the only guy that didn't come is because he was getting married.
Yeah.
Happened to be just getting married that weekend. So, and that was awesome. And I got to meet all those guys, and that was super fun. So, that's the bigger picture of just the special part of Ball State. And then, just in the day-to-days, I just think we have a university and an athletic department that appreciates men's volleyball and supports men's volleyball, which is also something you don't get to see at a lot of schools.
Coach Iandolo joining us here on This Week in Ball State Sports, live in studio here today after receiving the nod as the head coach of the program. You mentioned it, the men's volleyball at Ball State being one of the pillars of the men's volleyball community at the collegiate level. When you think about that, what does it mean for you to be the head coach of a program that has all of what you just said?
I don't know if it's hit yet, to be quite honest with you. Yeah, my dad texted me yesterday and kind of said those same things. He's like, hey, you were thinking about being a head coach. You wanted to go back to it. You're thinking you maybe have to go to a smaller program or whatever, start kind of over as a head coach. And then just so happens you get the opportunity at the oldest program in the country with some of the deepest history. And he's like, that's such a cool thing, And I read it, and I was like, acknowledged it. It's like, yeah, okay, that's true. And then I just put my phone away, and I was like, I don't really know how to process that information. To me, it's just cool. I'm just happy to be somewhere that cares about what we're doing. Because so often in our sport, there are just it's overlooked. Guys that play it are overlooked, coaches that coach it, they get overlooked, programs get overlooked. Even in the world of volleyball, women's volleyball is doing great. There's a lot of attention on it, a lot of money. A lot of TV, which is awesome. I'm so happy for that, because any success for volleyball will affect the rest of the volleyball. But I look at that and so we get overlooked a lot, and so to be somewhere that that cares, it makes a huge difference. And I can see why coaches were here. I understand why Don was here for so long.
Right.
I understand why Joel was here for so long. As the head coaches, because it's an easy place to be at, because it's such a good community for volleyball.
Season's coming up real fast. Now that you've gotten through all the 6 months of stretch, first match is January 3rd. How would you describe where your team is at in preparation to go for match number 1?
I think they're hungry. The reduced roster number has hyper-focused the team. There's not a lot of distractions. We're healthy, and we got some guys who have experienced the heartbreak of not winning, myself included. I've had the highest of highs and the lowest of lows, here where we have won a regular season and a MIVA tournament and gone to a Final Four. And then last year where we didn't win the regular season, didn't go to the Final Four and lost in the first round, of the MIVA tournament. And that, we don't want that to happen again. And so we got some of our guys that experienced that. They're just, I would use the word hungry, and we're healthy as we can be. Everyone outside of Al who's returning from surgery is ready to go when we come back, and just hoping that they're doing what they're supposed to right now while they're on their little Christmas holiday.
How much does it mean to you that you had such a massive group that returned back, even throughout the coaching change? Yes, you were on staff, but sometimes you see people leave regardless of whether a coach is promoted from within if the head coach leaves. What does it mean to you to have the Patrick Rogers of the world, the Lucas Machados of the world come back and want to be a part of this program?
Oh, I think it's awesome. I feel really good about my relationships with all the guys. As a large part of recruiting most of them, if, at this point, all of them.
Yeah.
And a lot of those conversations over the summer were less than 5 minutes.
I love it.
I called them. I said, hey, this is a scenario. You go with it. You got any questions? And they're like, no, coach, ready to go. See you in a couple months.
Awesome.
And, to me, that was the hardest part. Once I got through that, I was like, okay, cool. All these guys are in. I'm in. Let's do it.
This was easy.
I got to make sure I do my job and prepare them properly and all that kind of stuff. But having guys like that trust you and look to you gives you a lot of confidence, but also makes you very grateful for the positions that you're in and the opportunity to lead, 18 to, I'll say 25, because we've got a 25-year-old on our roster. And, when you're talking to parents and having them trust sending their kids to you, I take a big, that's big for me, right? Being a dad and all that kind of stuff. And so I take it very seriously what these guys have put into this. And I just am, it puts a lot of confidence and a lot just comfort. It's like, okay, let's go. We know what we're doing. We know what we want to do, right? Here's how we get there. And here's, as coaches, what we're asking you to do. And those guys are all bought in from the start, so then the new guys buy in real quick. Our captain group is really strong, and our two new coaches have bought in really quick. So it's just kind of all come together really well. Now we'll see what happens when the bullets start flying, right? Once we start competing, but I got a good feeling about this group. I really do.
Yeah, we can't wait to see how it all unfolds. Starting January 3rd, check out ballstatesports.com. Get your tickets, season tickets, single game tickets, all there at ballstatesports.com. Well, Coach, is there anything you want to say to the Ball State community here as we give you the floor in our final couple of moments here?
The only thing I would say is we have some of the best fans in the country. We really do. I've played in pretty much every gym at this point in my career as a player and as a coach, and there's only a couple places that get fans like we do, and it goes a long way. It's hard to play in Worthen. It really is for these teams coming in, and it's awesome for our guys and the support that they get. So please continue to support. You're going to see a good product this year. You're going to see guys that play hard and play for each other and are competing for a championship. So keep up that support, and we love having you guys in Worthen.
Of course, it's a wonderful time of the year. January 3rd, the first match of the season for Ball State men's volleyball. Again, ballstatesports.com for your tickets. Call 888-BSU-TICKET at the ticket office, and they will take care of you. Coach, congratulations again, and thanks for joining us here in studio.
Yeah, thanks, Mick. I really appreciate it.
That is head coach Mike Iandolo of the Ball State men's volleyball program joining us on This Week in Ball State Sports. We'll step aside, come back, and Director of Athletics Jeff Mitchell joins us next on the program.
Behind every strong hip and knee. Behind every strong shoulder.
Good catch.
Behind every strong team is our highly skilled team of experts in orthopedics. IU Health is the official healthcare and sports medicine provider of Ball State Athletics, and we're here to keep you moving. From acute injuries to chronic pain and conditions, go where the athletes go. Walk-in appointments for new injuries are available Monday through Friday from 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. And you can always schedule a same-day or next-day appointment and wait from the comfort of your home. Visit iuhealth.org/MuncieOrtho to learn more.
At Kroger, you never compromise. You get high quality and low prices. Like you never compromise your meal with our spring salad mix, guaranteed fresh. And you never compromise your budget with lower prices on over 1,000 items. And you never compromise your appetite with our golden brown bread that's baked fresh in store. And you never compromise your wallet with our lower prices. Hand it to Kroger shoppers. You never compromise. Kroger. Fresh for everyone.
Back inside This Week in Ball State Sports, our final show of 2025 before the holiday season kicks in. The semester is complete and begins again on January 5th at Ball State University. And we have Director of Athletics Jeff Mitchell with us here live in studio to talk about what we kind of just talked about with Mike Iandolo, new men's volleyball coach officially introduced. Jeff, first and foremost, thank you for joining us, and we're ready for this thing to start, huh?
Well, Mick, thank you very much for having me. And I know it's not quite baseball season, but we just had a great pitching change between Mike exiting the studio and me coming in. So it was the quickest pitching change on record.
It was pretty flawless.
Yeah. You don't waste a lot of time.
No, we don't waste a lot of time, and Mike was efficient, you were efficient, and it was, hey, shake the hands, hey, how you doing? You guys have spoken a lot the last couple of days, too. Last 48 hours has been a lot of conversations.
There was nothing but a fist bump exchanged in that pitching change just now. I'm thrilled for Mike Iandolo, and I'm thrilled for our men's volleyball program. Mike's done such a fantastic job since June when he was named interim head coach. And that transition to me was really important, that we stabilized our program as quickly as we could, and it was very clear that Mike was the right person for the opportunity to serve as interim coach. And what we did was able to keep that roster. He was able to get on the road recruiting. He was able to hire a couple of assistant coaches. And that began the evaluation process as we looked at the program, where we wanted to go, what we wanted to be. And so we spent the last several months evaluating. And he approached Ryan Hillenberg, who's the sport administrator. He approached me and wanted to have a conversation about what we were thinking. And in my mind, it was easy. But I wanted to be sure that he wanted the opportunity. And it was very clear to me that he did. It was very clear to me that he had the command and respect of our men's volleyball locker room. It was very clear to me that he was engaged in the recruiting process at a high level. It was very clear to me that he could assemble a staff. I mean, he's got a pair of former head coaches on his staff, right? They're young in terms of overall experience, but in terms of understanding what it's like to sit in that head coach chair, that adds a lot of value to the staff. And Mike, of course, has been a former head coach as well. And so all those things added up to a blueprint for what we hope to be significant success. And as we engaged in what this would look like, I thought the timing to lift the interim tag, to name him our permanent head coach at this point in the season was important, because it would give the guys a little juice going into their competitive season, which starts in January 3rd. And so I'm really excited about it. Timing-wise, it helps from a recruiting standpoint as well. And, he being Mike is just overjoyed, and he's just the right leader for our program at this point. I'm very excited for him. I'm very excited for Ball State volleyball, and I sent a bunch of messages out yesterday to let some of our high-level volleyball fans and donors know about the news, and just an overwhelming response of gratitude for the continued stewardship of the program, but also a lot of excitement about Coach Iandolo as a human, as a coach, and that bodes well for the future of our men's volleyball program.
100%. And it's exciting to see all of it come together the way that it has. In the last 48 hours, it seems fast to everybody on the outside, but you've been doing this for 6 months and making sure that evaluation process takes place throughout the course of those 6 months. Director of Athletics Jeff Mitchell with us here on This Week in Ball State Sports. We'll step aside, come back, bring Jeff back for our final 5 minutes here on This Week in Ball State Sports.
Behind every strong hip and knee, behind every strong shoulder,
good catch,
behind every strong team is our highly skilled team of experts in orthopedics. IU Health is the official healthcare and sports medicine provider of Ball State Athletics, and we're here to keep you moving. From acute injuries to chronic pain and conditions, go where the athletes go. Walk-in appointments for new injuries are available Monday through Friday from 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. And you can always schedule a same-day or next-day appointment and wait from the comfort of your home. Visit iuhealth.org/MuncieOrtho to learn more.
At Kroger, you never compromise. You get high quality and low prices. Like you never compromise your meal with our spring salad mix, guaranteed fresh. And you never compromise your budget with lower prices on over 1,000 items. And you never compromise your appetite with our golden brown bread that's baked fresh in store. And you never compromise your wallet with our lower prices. Hand it to Kroger shoppers. You never compromise. Kroger. Fresh for everyone.
Final few minutes here on This Week in Ball State Sports, our final show of 2025, and we'll be back in 2026 after the new year rings in. The next show, January 8th, after Christmas, New Year, and the holiday season completes. We finish up here with Director of Athletics Jeff Mitchell. Just talked about the men's volleyball program. Jeff, there's a doubleheader coming up for basketball December 20th. You look down at the calendar, and it's not as busy as it was the last couple of months with the holiday season, but it's a pretty important day on Saturday to start off MACtion for basketball.
Well, it is. You referenced that it starts MAC play, but it's holiday hoops, and it doesn't get much more exciting than that. The opportunity for us to host both our women's game at 11, our men's game at 2, is going to be fun for our community. It's Community Day, so we're going to have the opportunity to celebrate with folks in Muncie and Delaware County and East Central Indiana, and hoping for a good crowd. I
was talking with my mom yesterday, and I was teasing. I was like, you get to wake up and watch holiday hoops at 9 a.m. Mountain Time with them being in Utah. I love 11 a.m. tip. I think that's phenomenal basketball.
Well, it is, and coaches would love to play as early as they possibly can on a game day, as opposed to sitting around and waiting all day. So we'll get 2 games out of the way on Saturday and get the holiday season off to a good start.
Jeff, what is your holiday message to Ball State fans and the Ball State community?
Well, it's one of gratitude, which is often the case for me to our community and their level of support for Ball State athletics. Mick, it's important, too, as we close this year. We've had a remarkable stretch of success here within Ball State athletics. Over the past 5 years, we have won 16 conference championships. We've won 10 in the last 3. And we have a 5-year stretch of winning at least 2 championships in a calendar year over the course of those 5 years, which is a stretch that hasn't been accomplished since 1999 to 2003. So over 20 years, it's been over 20 years since we've had that level of success. And I'm grateful to be a part of that. I'm grateful for our talented student athletes and the devoted coaches and staff that serve them, and our fantastic fans that help make it happen. And as we go into 2026, I'm excited to continue that level of success and continue to develop and grow the Ball State brand. And that coincides with the developing brand of Ball State University. And as we go into the final couple of years of our campaign, we're making great progress across the state of Indiana and certainly in East Central Indiana. So I'm really excited about the future.
Before we let you go, Jeff, what are your holiday plans?
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing everybody in Worthen Arena on the 20th. So I'll put my best coach speak on right now and say we're going to take it one day at a time. But looking forward to spending some time with the family over the holiday period and the Christmas season, and excited about it. Yeah.
That is good coach speak, but we like it. December 20th. Get your tickets, ballstatesports.com. Jeff, appreciate you always. Happy New Year. Happy holidays, and we'll see you in 2026.
Thank you, Mick. See you at Worthen on Saturday.
That's true. I will see you Saturday. I will see you in this studio in 2026.
I'll look forward to it. Go Cards.
That's Director of Athletics Jeff Mitchell joining us here on This Week in Ball State Sports. Again, check out ballstatesports.com. Pick up your tickets for not only men's volleyball, men's basketball, but everything you need. Call 888-BSU-TICKET at the ticket office as well. Just want to thank everybody who's listened to all of our episodes all of our shows here in 2025. Jeff mentioned the word gratitude. I have gratitude for all of you as well that have listened to our show this year, and thank you to everybody involved for making it happen on WMUN this year. Can't wait for what 2026 has in store. Special thank you as well to Leslie Griffin, our wonderful producer, who's done a great job in our first year of the show on the airwaves as well. Thank you, Leslie. Thank you, Wolf Boom Radio. Thank you, Jeff, and all of our guests that we've had throughout the course of 2025. We'll see you in 2026. Happy holidays, Cardinals fans. Thanks for joining This Week in Ball State Sports.
Thanks for listening to This Week in Ball State Sports. The preceding has been a Gamebridge Ball State Cardinals Sports Network presentation on 92.5 FM, 1340 AM, WMUN.